guys, it's Haylee. Welcome back to the channel. And I know I'm like 5 years late to the Expo vlog, but we're starting strong with some parking footage. Basically, as you saw, we drove to Expo and we parked the car, and we have to actually take a bus to get to Expo City. And that's because the parking is actually very far away from where the pavilions and the other exhibitions are. That's us. We got out of the bus and our next goal was to go get our tickets. Expo tickets actually started at 95 dirhams and went all the way up to like 500 for a complete seasonal pass. But as students, we actually got free tickets to Expo, which I think was really cool. At this point of the day, it was actually very hot already and we hadn't even reached peak afternoon. We got in line to get our COVID clearance thing done, which means we have to prove to them that we are COVID negative. And after that, we had to go through a mandatory security check, airport vibes, and then after that, we were finally let in. Straight off the bat, the first thing I noticed was how enormous the place was. It was so incredibly built. Everything had so much character, personality. There was so much attention to detail. I was absolutely blown away by the invention of everything. The buildings were perfect. Passports! Oh my god! Everyone visiting Expo just knows that getting your passport stamped is #1 priority. We almost forgot, but we got them and entered our first pavilion, which was China. Okay, so right away we were introduced into a very vibrant room which was space themed. And I think this pavilion vividly showcased China's profound culture and outstanding history by artistically integrating Chinese elements with modern technology. It was pretty clear that China was having this space exploration and futuristic approach to this pavilion. We really enjoyed it, got our stamps, and we're headed out to explore more. Alright, so the next pavilion was Switzerland. Now I absolutely love the country, so I was super excited to check this out. And this actually ended up being one of my favorites so far. They first took us on a hike through a sea of fog for a travel on a magic carpet kind of experience to feel the thrill of Switzerland's stunning mountain-draped panorama. And honestly, I think this pavilion reflected Switzerland and its diversity, from magnificent landscapes to innovative projects and ideas for a sustainable future. Next in line was Egypt. When we went there were quite a few people waiting, so we thought of coming back to it a little later. We continued to walk and we came across the Emirates Pavilion, and they were actually overbooked for the whole week, so they told us to come another time. We were already back out in the streets of Expo City. This place was so stunning. Once again, I felt like my 2 eyes weren't enough to take everything in. So yeah, the next pavilion was Palestine. Lying in the Levant, Palestine is a deeply historic land with ancient buildings and a very rich culture. I found myself barely reaching for my phone through this entire exhibit because it was honestly very beautiful. We learned a lot about this country and its amazing origins, and it was a pretty nice experience. Now this was one of those exhibitions that I was super excited to take you guys on because oh my god, this place was so interactive, so engaging, and it was Saudi Arabia. Right when you walk into this pavilion, there was this spiral staircase that everyone had to take. The intricate design of this building is mind-blowing, and I couldn't help but think how much money was invested into building this place up. Also, an honorable mention to this little kid who was having the time of his life. It was so adorable, and I'm so glad I captured this cute little moment. Everyone was having so much fun at this little water art installation thing, and my friend and I wanted to go in as well. We did, and what happened next is hilarious. Just watch. Yeah, I basically got drenched because my friend tried to stop me when I was about to escape from the water ring. Yeah, my hair was wet, as you can see, and it was wet like that for quite some time. So I had to like walk around with wet hair. It was embarrassing, but it was very fun. Thank you. Like I said, this was one of the most well thought out exhibitions within Expo, especially from the ones we visited on the first day. And there was so much to see, actually, so many different things to explore. In general, I think the Saudi pavilion offers a glimpse into their shared future, taking us on a journey through their ambitions across 4 main pillars: people, nature, heritage, and opportunities. You guys, the feeling of being at Expo is literally unmatched. The experience is unlike any other, and I really wish you had seen this in person, especially this pavilion in particular, because brought to life by a collective of Saudi artists was a giant multifaceted 30-meter in diameter globe with an interactive floor. It took us on this really cool audiovisual journey through the kingdom's creative scene. It was very beautiful. From the entirety of what we saw inside this pavilion, I think this exact space was my absolute favorite. Mostly because it just made me feel like I'm in a really pretty forest, you know, with all the leaves and the vines draped in from the ceiling. It was very magical. Here's the final fun fact about this place. The Saudi Arabian pavilion was apparently the second largest one at Expo 2020 Dubai, with a total area of over 13,000 square meters actually. That's very impressive. And there's no doubt that the next Expo is going to be held in Saudi Arabia, and I think they really outdid themselves. Funny story, by the time we came back to Egypt to see what was going on, we found out that the line was actually much longer than what we started with. We regretted it, but then we stayed in line for like 2 hours, and then they finally let us in. As soon as we entered, it was hard not to notice how cozy the pavilion of Egypt felt. Honestly, I think it's because of their beautiful choice of lighting. The subtle accents of blues, pinks, yellows, mostly warm-toned colors reflected so well on Egypt's overall culture and themes. I don't know about you guys, but I have always been super fascinated by the rich heritage of Egypt, because everything related to pyramids and pharaohs and, you know, the ancient Egyptian culture, it just somehow feels very magical. On a completely unrelated note, if you like watching people as a pastime activity, and if people watching is your thing, then you definitely should have been at Expo, because there is a lot of stuff happening here. Everyone is in their own little worlds. So I was basically recording a clip for this video, and cute little kid, he shows up, and it just made me wonder, you know, it's his world and we're just living in it. He was having the time of his life again, just like the previous kid was. The long wait to come inside of Egypt in the scorching hot sun of Dubai actually felt worth it, because along with a 3D experience to travel through a time machine, we also experienced a high-end digital journey with a virtual tour guide. It was a very engaging experience. Everything was so well thought out, and overall, the vibes were great. Shortly after, we were taken to explore 3 antique statues of an ancient Egyptian pharaoh. the way, these were replicas of the original ones that are still there at the Grand Museum of Egypt. Now, the coolest thing about this is actually the story behind it. Basically, the tour guide was telling us how if someone were to go too close to the original or take a picture of it, it is said that they would be cursed by the pharaoh that was there inside. So a lot of folklore, a lot of stories about ancient Egypt, which is what a lot of people find fascinating. So yeah. So overall, I definitely agree that this visit helped us kind of uncover the stories of all these different countries that we saw today and their past to present achievements. It almost felt like we embarked on a new era of opportunities and celebrated a vision of a very prosperous future for the whole of mankind, honestly, in terms of like tourism, infrastructure, education, mostly innovation, and so much more. You guys, this place is insane, and I'm so excited to share with you everything else that we saw. You think you saw everything, but part 2 is gonna get even more exciting, so stay tuned. I will see you guys very soon.